understanding that dimension. Because we, remember, there are only 6 dimensions on the earth. Up, down, front, back, right, left. But on that dimension, we will not have that. Because we'll actually be able to see into the bones of people. So we can't imagine that. I mean, it's beyond, the way we see will be different. Remember how we talked about every time we have a fruit, it might look the same, but it will taste different.
Right.
So it's just beyond our comprehension, that dimension. This ayah testifies to the fact that the earth was created before heaven, as Allah has indicated in the ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah. Spreading the earth out after the heavens were created. Sahih Al-Baqarah records that when Ibn Abbas was questioned about this matter, he said that the earth was created before heaven, and the earth was spread out only after the creation of the heaven. The result of that discussion is that the word daha, translated above as spread, is mentioned and explained in Allah's statement in Surah 79, 30 through 32. And the earth, after that, He spread it out, and brought forth therefrom its water and its pasture, and the mountains He has fixed firmly. Remember we talked about the miracle of mountains and how they form pegs in the earth, and they actually stabilize the earth? And that this is proven scientifically.
Right.
Daha means that the earth's treasures were brought to its surface after finishing the job of creating whatever will reside on earth and heaven. When the heaven became daha, the water burst out to its surface, and the various types, colors, shapes, and kinds of plants grew. The stars started rotating along with the planets that rotate around them. Allah knows best. And isn't it beautiful how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you look at pictures of all over the world, the different bodies of water, not 2 bodies of water have the same color. Amazing, huh? That's only Allah. And if you stand at the southern tip of South Africa, you can see Cape Agulhas, you can see the Indian Ocean on one side, and the Atlantic Ocean on the other side, and they look 2 different colors right in front of you. You can walk from here to about over here, and the difference in the temperature is 13 degrees. And this is talked about in the Holy Quran. Surah 2 verse 30. And remember when your Lord said to the angels, verily I am going to place mankind generations after generations on earth. They said, will you place therein those who will make mischief therein and shed blood, while we glorify you with praises and thanks and sanctify you? He, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, said, I know that which you do not know. Now, don't misunderstand this as Allah's angels questioning Allah. Because what do we know about angels? They do everything Allah tells them to. Now, the scholars say that each human has a devil, we have an angel, and what are we supposed to be doing? We're supposed to be bringing that demonic part of ourselves, that devilish part of ourselves, developing it into the angelic part, where we are submitting our whole beings to Allah. Submitting what we say, and what we say pleases Allah. What we look at pleases Allah. What we listen to pleases Allah. Where we go pleases Allah. And that's whole self-submission. Adam and his children inhabited the earth generation after generation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reiterated His favor on the children of Adam when He stated that He mentioned them in the highest of heights before He created them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah 6 verse 165, and remember when your Lord said to the angels, this ayah means, O Muhammad, mention to your people that Allah said to the angels, verily I am going to place a Khalifa, an agent, inheritors on earth. Meaning people reproducing generation after generation, century after century. Just as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and it is He who has made you kala'at, generations coming after generations, replacing each other on the earth. This is reiterated in chapter 27 and verse 62. And makes you Kulefa, inheritors of the earth. Surah 43 and 60. And if it were our will, we would have destroyed you, mankind all, and made angels to replace you on earth. And then in Surah 7, verse 169. You see, in another dimension, when you don't understand everything, which we're going to talk to, inshallah, and help you understand it a little more, you see, we think in limited means. Because we only think in the realm in which we exist. We have a very hard time stepping out of the realm of earth and trying to think of the realm of the angels. We have a hard time stepping out of the realm of earth and trying to think about the realm of the unseen. We have a hard time trying to comprehend jinns because we don't live in that dimension. So we might get bits and pieces, but we never get the whole thing yet.
Are you going to teach us about jinns?
Inshallah.
First does go first. Oh my God.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's a movie called Jinn coming out April 4th.
Okay.
In
Alhamdulillah.
America.
In America. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Alhamdulillah.
awesome.
Is it going to be on TV or is it going to
Movie. It's
Movie.
in theaters, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll have to go see how,
I know.
if they know what they're talking about.
There's a movie coming out.
Is the movie coming out in April?
April 4th.
In theaters called Jinn. Okay.
Actual AMC theaters.
AMC theaters?
All of the theaters.
All of the theaters apparently. Look it up on Google, folks. Surah 7, verse 169. And I'm not, what do you call it, endorsing that movie. It's truth, okay? The only thing that's truth comes from the Quran, not from AMC or Imperial Theaters or whatever it's called.
Disclaimer, it was Rushda's announcement.
I was 6.
All right. Surah 7 and verse 169. Then after them succeeded an evil generation. Now, it appears that Allah was not referring to Adam specifically as Khalifa. Otherwise, He would not have allowed the angel's statement in verse 30, where you replace therein those who will make mischief therein and shed blood. Now, we're going to talk about the tafsir of why the angels might have said this. What I do want to say, because we're close to time, and I don't know how much energy you have today to continue with this. But remember how I said it's hard for us to think out of our dimension? Maybe it's equally hard for angels to think outside of their dimension. Because they've only obeyed Allah. So they don't really have an understanding of choice. See, we have an understanding of choice. If I want a Coke, I run to the nearest vending machine, I put $1.50 in and I get a Coke. If I want a bag of potatoes, how much?
$1.25.
$1.25.
Thanks for clarifying.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying. I don't drink soda. If I want a coffee, I go to Starbucks and pay $5 for a cup of coffee. $5. Is that what you're trying to? Is it dollars or bucks? Or you just? I was wrong about the drink price, right? Okay. All right. So the angels meant that this type of creature usually commits the atrocities they mentioned. The angels knew of this fact, according to their understanding of human nature, for Allah stated that He would create man from clay. So apparently maybe the angels knew that clay or somehow was dirt. Allah knows best. We're not real sure. And as you see more of the tafsir on this, you will see that it's not 100% clarity. Okay? So we'll look at what different scholars said. Or the angels understood this fact from the word Khalifa, which also means the person who judges disputes that occur between people, forbidding them from injustice and sin. Now let's look at something, folks. If angels don't have free will, and they only do what Allah commands them to do, can they understand the people that have free choice? No. Because it's outside of their dimension. So they're about like our boat, when we, no matter how much you get taught about jinns and angels, we actually get stuck in the mental images of what the world has told us, and we think these angels are these pretty little things we put on our fireplace. Meanwhile, we look at the hadith and it says their angels, their wingspans are what?
Miles long.
Heavens, length.
Heaven's length. So it's really tough. So it's very easy to me when I look at these verses to think, well, these angels were thinking in the confines, in the paradigm in which they live. Just like we have a hard time getting out of our paradigms. The statement the angels uttered was not a form of disputing with Allah, nor out of envy for the children of Adam, as some have mistakenly thought. And I've heard people say this, well, you know, the angels argued with Allah. Angels don't argue. It's not a part of their being. That's us. We argue. See, we think that other beings do what we do. You ever go up to somebody and say, I think they're mad with me. Meanwhile, you're the one that's mad. You know, I think that she doesn't like me anymore. Meanwhile, you don't like her. But we want to transfer it onto somebody else. Allah has described them as those who do not precede Him in speaking. Listen, folks. We run our mouths so much. Look how hard it is to relate to angels that don't precede Allah in speaking. They don't even speak without Allah's permission. We run our mouths all the time. And speak all kinds of frivolities and vanities.
Some people call their children angels. What's wrong with that? No?
We're meeting fewer and fewer of those. When Allah informed them that He was going to create a creation on the earth, that they had no knowledge that this creation would commit mischief on it. As Qatada mentioned, they said in verse 30, will you place therein those who will make mischief therein and shed blood? They must have had some kind of knowledge that if somebody can have free will, then they can do mischief. How can people handle free will? I can understand that a being that doesn't have it, certainly not comprehend it. And we have it, but can we control it? Allah gave us free will, but what do we do with it? We run amok. We go into disbelief all the time. We say, I know Allah said it, but we stick our butt in it and we mess up. When Allah informed them that He was going to create a creation on the earth, and they had no knowledge that this creation would commit mischief on it, as Qatada mentioned, they said in verse 30, will you place therein those who will make mischief therein and shed blood? This is only a question for the sake of learning about the wisdom of that. As if they said, our Lord, what is the wisdom of creating such creatures, since they will cause trouble in the earth and spill blood and contaminate the earth and pollute the earth, perhaps? If the wisdom behind this action is that you be worshipped, we praise and glorify you. Meaning, we pray to you. We never indulge in mischief. So why create another creature? See, they just could not go into another dimension. The same way we have difficulty going into another dimension. Allah said in verse 30 to the angels in answer to their inquiry, I know that which you know not. So Allah tells them, I know what you know not. I'm the all-knower. I created all of this. The meaning of the last sentence in verse 30 means, I know that the benefit of creating this type of creature outweighs the harm that you mentioned, that which you have no knowledge of. I will create among them prophets and send messengers. I will also create among them truthful martyrs, righteous believers, worshippers, the modest, the pious, those who can make intercession in Allah's will, the scholars who implement their knowledge, humble people, and those who love Allah and follow His messenger. You see how if you're thinking just limited about what the negativity people will do, they weren't seeing that these people could do all this positive. Sometimes when we think about jinns, as humans, what do? We think about all the negative things that jinn. We forget that Suleiman actually managed the jinn. They worked for him. We forget that there are Muslim jinn. We forget that people are married to jinn. Because we don't understand that dimension, so we only focus on the negative. Because we're limited in our focus. We're limited in our understanding. I'm going a little bit over, but is that okay with you guys? Did I just, are you got the energy, or am I wearing you out? Yes, keep going. Okay, I just don't want to. The Sahih recorded that when the angels ascend to Allah with the records of the servant's deed, Allah asked them, while having better knowledge, how did you lead my servants? They will say, we came to them while they were praying and left them while they were praying. This is because the angels work in shifts with mankind. And they change shifts during the Fajr and Asr prayer. You see, folks, look at the beauty of this. And I just, this just, to me, there's such a beauty in this. That when the angels are changing shifts and leaving us, a new one's coming in and another one's going out, we're in sujood. We are submitted to Allah. And in that moment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changes shifts with the angels. I just think that timing is, I think there's something in the unseen about that. I think there's something amazing about that. That they change shifts while we're praying. Yes. Oh.
Does that got anything to do with that we should pray Asr on time? One of the prayers?
Did I? Wait a minute. Here we go. I'm not sure if it has anything to do with that or not. I don't want to say something I don't know. But certainly we should pray on time. So, regardless. But that is interesting because the angels do change shifts on those prayers. Fajr and Asr.
But we feel better when we pray on time, and I think that has something to do with it. I mean, the difference of even praying wherever you might be and praying at the mosque, that makes a difference. I mean, there's a difference of being on time and hearing that call to prayer in the mosque and doing it at home or at work or wherever, and I feel that maybe that has something to do with it.
What does it say? Hasten to prayer. Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala salah. Hasten. As a matter of fact, the hadith says that when the adhan is called, like if I have a meeting, I'll say to people, please let me leave, because if the adhan is called, I cannot leave. I must obey. And then I'm going to be late for my meeting. So let me go before the adhan is called. Some of you in this room, I've told you that before. I really need to go because if the adhan, I'm going to be that much later, and I promise someone I'm going to be there. So absolutely, we know that the greatest rewards is to pray the prayer as soon as it comes in. Allah gave us a window of opportunity, but the greatest reward is to pray it on time. The Messenger of Allah said, the deeds of the night are elevated to Allah before the morning, and the deeds of morning before the night falls. So this is the angels taking those deeds to Allah. Remember, folks, we have an angel on our right shoulder and one on our left shoulder. The one on our right shoulder is recording our good deeds. The one on the left shoulder is recording our bad deeds. And inshallah, they're on their way to the unemployment office. That's our prayer. Hence the angel's statement, we came to them while they were praying and left them while they were praying. Explains Allah's statement in verse 30, I know that which you do not know. It is said that the meaning of Allah's statement in verse 30, I know that which you do not know, is, I have a specific wisdom in creating them, which you do not have knowledge of. It was also said that it is an answer to the statement in verse 30. While we glorify you with praises and thanks and sanctify you, after which Allah said in verse 30, I know that which you know not. Meaning I know that Iblis is not as you are. This is another scholar. And this is amazing because you see, this is like an introduction This is like a transition, knowing that we're going to learn about Iblis later on. So this is like teasing you. It's like Allah hanging out a carrot and saying, looky here, folks. There's a new character on the scene. And I deem by Allah, this is the first time Iblis is mentioned. In Tafseer, when we start from Surah Al-Baqarah, we get to this verse. If I remember correctly, this is the first time Iblis is mentioned. So Allah is telling you there's going to be a new character. Be ready for the next episode. I know that Iblis is not as you are, although he is among you. Others said, will you place therein those who will make mischief, therein and shed blood, while we glorify you and praise and thank and sanctify you? Is there a request that they should be allowed to inhabit the earth instead of the children of Adam? Allah said to them, I know that which you know not. In your inhabiting the heavens is better or worse for you, whether it is. And this is Arazi and other. Allah knows best, folks. I wanted to share with you just some different opinions of scholars to help you look at the very depth of this one sentence that is all encompassing these ideas. So it's very deep. As a matter of fact, this has been the toughest class for me to prepare of all the tafsir classes that I've done because of the details. As I was preparing this, I was thinking, wow, you got to add this, you got to add